Hi guys, today I'm answering some viewer questions. This is about my nested set of molds, and I use this set when I do my chunky bowls. So it's a set of 4, and as you can see they all sit nicely inside of each other. And so I'm just going to show you how I came up with this set. At my local supermarket, I was fortunate enough to find this set of bowls. And believe me, I had been looking for a long time for a nice rounded bottom bowl. And so I had a set of 3. I bought them. I actually bought several of them. As I teach plaster classes, they come in handy. But I'm only going to use the bottom one, so I'll put these other 2 aside. The rest of the set comes from these giant Easter egg sets. So I would buy several of these, disconnect them, and then just use the bottom half inside my molds. So they come in all different kind of colors. And for this demo I'm going to use this already semi-prepared set. And you just place them inside of each other, and then you add water to determine volume. Alright, so the reason I did this is I want to determine volume. The other thing is, by pouring the water in ahead of time, I can see exactly how, where the lines should be for when I put in the plaster. And the way that I figure that out is I take out each little bit. And this first one, I don't need to mark because I always go to the top for this one. So this one I'm going to pour into a bucket, an empty bucket. And I'm going to come up with a little container for it right here. The second one, now that I've taken it out, you can see the water level has dropped. And what I've done is I've taken a Sharpie, a silver Sharpie, and I've marked a line as to where that's where I need to stop when I'm pouring my plaster. So once you have that line marked, then you can pour this into your bucket. Once again, I'm going to create a little place for this to hang out. Lastly, I have this one. It's already marked. I'm going to take this and put it into my bucket. And then finally, this guy, you can see I already have it marked here. This is where the water level is. And I'm going to pour this into the bucket. So now that I have all the water that I used, that I figured out, into my bucket, now I can determine how much, what's the volume of plaster that I'm going to need. So what I would do from here is measure. So I know across here this is 11 1/4, so I would need half of that for the radius for my calculation. So I'm going to do, alright, so 11.25 divided by 2 equals 5.65 times 5.625 times 2.625. That comes from this, which comes out to be 2 5/8, and that equals 83. And then I'm going to times that times 3.14. You could do the whole number of pi, but I just do the 3.14. And I get about 260 cubic inches. So 260 cubic inches is close to 6 pounds of water, and it's probably 6.5 pounds. And so I would go with 10 pounds of plaster. So this water that I used is going to be too much to just add plaster to. I have to reduce this. So this is going to weigh more than what I need. So I either can reuse it, empty it out, or use this as my rinse bucket later on before preparing the plaster. So the next thing I would do is I would get my bowls ready, and I would set them on a container to help keep them straight. And of course the big one, I don't need that. I would use some spray to put in here and wipe around And then after I've mixed my plaster in, I would pour it to the line that I created earlier with the water. So I would fill this one, I would put this one in, fill it with plaster, turn around, fill this one in, and then put this one in. So when you're doing this, I do this outside, not in my studio. I always want to make sure that my bowls are level as well. So as soon as you, you know, get all the plaster in place, you're going to be, the bowls were not going to move around like they did with the water. It'll be stiffer. And then you're ready to go. One of the things I want to make sure that you do, or take note of, is that inside these shells are, or eggs, are grooves. You never want to pour the plaster above the grooves. That's going to create an undercut situation, and you're not going to be able to easily remove the plaster from the shell. So as an example, that's kind of what happened with this one. That's why it's all a little messed up here. So I really had to bang it to get it out because I went too high. So as far as mixing the plaster and pouring, I have another video from the AVCAG organization. I'm going to refer you to that. But I just wanted to show you the forms that I use to create my nested bowls. And if you want to give that a shot, it's fun. The other thing you can do is, if you don't have the Easter eggs handy, you can also find, I have never found one as big as these guys, but you can find these ornaments at the craft stores. And usually around this time of the year too, we're getting close to where it's fall, a lot more of these start showing up. So you can get a range of sizes for these and do your own little smaller nesting version. That's it. Hope you enjoyed this, and see you next time.